Okay, so I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this has probably been such a highly requested video, and I was never sure whether I should make it, whether it was the right time or anything like that. But I thought there's no wrong time to make anything, and why not? It is useful to know what's on your spec, but so basically I just made like a little contents page. So this is from like the OCR spec. Depends on what spec you're doing, but just like a little contents page, just so I know like what I'm gonna go through and what I've been taught and etc. I can just tick things off. You don't need to sit there and annotate the specification, because if I see someone on Instagram annotating the specification, go and block me right now. I don't want to see it, because you're not revising, you're just, I don't know what you're doing, to be honest. You're just wasting your time. Please stop annotating the specification. So revision resources, just because I don't know what kind of schools everyone goes to, and some people might not receive like handouts like we do. So we do receive like handouts like these, but some schools don't receive these kind of things, which I completely understand. So I would say the best resources video wise, I'd say Allery Chemistry and Free Science Lessons as well. Free Science Lessons has a really good way of explaining stuff, I'm not gonna lie to you, so I would say check that out. Notes wise, if you need like something to revise off, Physics and Maths Tutor, I read through the notes on their website. They are pretty good, I can't lie to you. Like, they really do match the spec, and I don't feel like they're over waffling in like some of their GCSE notes, so I would say they are really good. Also, if you can afford one, although I know A-level textbooks are quite expensive, say a textbook like this has really good information in it, and I don't feel like it's like the GCSE books where they're very like blunt in what you're given, and or like the GCSE textbooks that I've seen in the past. These textbooks are really good, like they have all the information you pretty much need for the A-level. They are really good. In terms of questions, Save My Exams has really good chemistry questions. Or your exam board website, you can just print a paper off and just answer the relevant topic questions that you need. Or you can use Physics and Maths Tutor. I also went through their questions. They are pretty much the same as the ones in my school workbook, but if you don't receive those, they will be a really good place to practice questions in. This is not the same as GCSE chemistry, where GCSE chemistry you can get away without really understanding stuff and just memorizing it. At A-level, you need, and I tell you, need to understand what a definition means and what a concept means. If you're going to memorize a paragraph, you need to understand what is going on in that paragraph. Do this by seeing your teacher in your free time. Ask in the class. Like, I know it can be difficult and it might be something that you're not confident to do, but when you're struggling in something, you need to ask. If you find anything hard, ask the teacher while they're teaching, or you can go see them like after their lesson in any like drop-in sessions, lunch times, or just email the teacher and ask. Watch videos like I did describe earlier. There are quite a few resources online. I would say give them a chance and watch until you understand, and do not to leave until you understand. And a good way to understand is also by practicing. So I literally did like so many compared so many elements, literally just picked 2 random elements out of the periodic table and just compared all of them until I understood how the concept works and how to answer exam question, how to draw successive ionization energy. Literally did so many, just practiced all of them and just compared elements. And I'm going to go through these with my teacher just to double check. For example, I was confused on how to write equations for ammonium ions, so I literally did these questions and until I understood it, and now I understand it and I'm able to apply questions in exams. Also, practicing exam questions is also another way of like, it's really good to understand. I'm just saying this because at A-level, memorizing is not enough. You need to understand what you are memorizing. You really need to practice at A-level, because if you don't practice, you're gonna struggle. So I'm telling you, do topic tests like the ones I told you about on PMT. I don't know, my school has a lot of stuff on the SharePoint, so we had, this is like an alkenes and alkanes handout, and there's just like pure questions you can answer. And then if you don't understand something, see your teacher. Any mistake you make, note it down. I usually put them on my wall. So for example, one of them is like, look at the signs of working out the gradient, because I always make a mistake in that. I think I've noted that a few times. And just keep noting your mistakes down, so then when you practice more questions, you're aware of certain mistakes you make, and then when you're answering a question, you're like, okay, am I making that same mistake now? You can check for certain mistakes because you know what mistakes you're making, and that way you can avoid those mistakes that you're making. After a while, I don't think this is relevant now just because we haven't covered that much content, at least I don't think you would have. In chemistry, I would say do topic tests now. and then when it goes down the line, you should be able to answer certain past papers, but not obviously the whole thing, because you wouldn't have been taught the whole thing. But you could be able to answer good chunks of past papers, just so you can be able to distinguish what's from certain topics, and you can think, oh yeah, this refers to ionization energy, oh yeah, this refers to free radical substitution or something like that. Obviously there's a lot of mess here, but just leave it. To memorize stuff at A level, in my opinion, I would say the best way to do it is write down in your scruffiest writing. For example, you need to memorize a certain paragraph or like a certain structure for an exam question. You literally look at it for a good minute and then close it and write it down as fast as you can in your scruffiest handwriting. You can take your time, so keep writing until you memorize it. And for me, I don't know, my uncle taught me this. If you've gotten something right after you've wrote it down, write it 4 more times, and each those 4 times, if it's correct, then you should be okay. And then revisit it another day until the more you revisit it, the more it sticks into your long-term memory. So like I said, this I can literally regurgitate all of it, because, well, I can probably regurgitate 90% of it just because I've revisited it so many times. It's the best way to get stuff to stick in your long-term memory, just by writing it down and practicing multiple questions. Okay, as I've probably described in like multiple videos, I don't really like making pretty revision notes. I just think it's quite time consuming and there's not really much need of it. I made some of these like question answer flashcards in quarantine. I might have described it in one video, but I don't really think that there's much need to make like let it consume your time to make revision notes. Like, you can make some things as you go along, and there's nothing wrong with making revision notes. It's just make sure that it's not consuming your time and you're not looking at it like it's revision, because copying straight from a textbook or from a source is not revising, because it's just quite passive. If you want to make revision notes, and I learned this and it's quite useful, I usually make summary posters just because I like to have like a classroom looking wall. I just like it. I make like summary posters but from memory, and I usually like, okay, I know this whole topic, let me write down everything I remember on a poster. So that's what I usually do. Other than that, I don't really recommend like passively making notes. Question answer cards are quite useful. I haven't used any of these yet because I haven't gone through the content in these, and I've made these in quarantine. They are quite good actually. Since I've looked at them right now, I think they would be quite useful. Another thing my chemistry teacher told me to do, and she said make definition cards. So every time you go through like a new topic, a new handout, a new whatever set of notes, look at the definitions that your specification the teachers will tell you the definition your specification requires, and just make like a set of notes out of these and just keep memorizing them repeatedly. Like that 1 mark could cost you a grade, so it's better to just like every now and then just go and revisit it. It doesn't harm you. So yeah, nothing wrong with making pretty notes, just don't let it consume your time. Make sure that these don't take up your revision hours, and do try and use them. I know I made like quite a few posters, I never use them. I just make them from memory just because they look nice on my wall, and at least I have kind of revised because I wrote them down from memory and I've gotten all the information in them correct. So if you're trying to be effective, then I think that's a good idea. So I don't think I mentioned this, but this is a really good workbook. I think it costs £10 from the CGP website, but it is really good. They have a lot of questions in there and they are quite good questions, so they are worth practicing if you want more questions. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you found that useful, please like, subscribe and comment down below. And if I don't know if I've missed anything, it's just I don't know exactly how much advice I can give just because I've only been doing chemistry since September. So this is what I'm doing right now.